What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Quincy's Both Sports, and today we're going to be doing Week 13 college picks as well as a Week 12 recap and a playoff discussion, just like we did last week. This video is going to be like 40 minutes, so sorry about that. You could skip ahead to just the week. You could skip ahead just to the weekly picks if you so choose, but anyway, I think what we're going to do, we're going to start with recapping the important games from last week, okay? Eastern Michigan won. Okay, I got every single game here. I'm going to wait till I scroll to an important game. If a team became bowl eligible, I'm going to mention that because, you know, we like recognizing teams that became bowl eligible. Michigan just ran over Michigan State, and I am a Michigan State fan. I'm watching them play basketball, absolutely ripping the life out of Charleston Southern, 33-12. But 44-10, Michigan State was up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And then they just couldn't stop Michigan. Michigan's looking like a very good team. They're not going to make the playoff, but if they roll in to possibly maybe spoil Ohio State's season, that's an option. Maybe they roll into possibly a New Year's Six Bowl and they win. That's an option. I'll tell you, Michigan has played some very good football. Just absolutely ripped through Michigan State. Louisville, the Cardinals, are bowl eligible as of this week. LSU rolled through Ole Miss again, but their defense showed, I would say, a little bit of concern. I mean, they did give up 37 points to a subpar Ole Miss team, but the offense scored 58. Don't really have to worry there. Jamar Chase balled out 3 touchdowns on 227 yards receiving. Ohio State beat Rutgers by everything. Clemson dismantled Wake Forest 52-3. And I think this really shows how bad the ACC actually is. I would say Wake Forest is the second best team in the ACC. You can argue with that if you want to. I'm not going to disagree with you. And they lost 52-3. Yikes. Georgia and Auburn. Georgia was up 21-0 in that game. Auburn did try to force a bit of a comeback at the end, but the Dogs really just were barking that entire game. They looked very good and impressive in that one. Auburn, I'll tell you, we'll get to the bad news surrounding Alabama in a second. But this is bad news for Alabama because now let's say if they beat Auburn, their best win is going to be against a 4-loss team. If they do end up beating them, that'd be Auburn's 4th loss. Oh, look at Xavier Tillman with a dunk. So that's going to look badly on Alabama. But now Georgia really, they don't have anyone else good for the rest of the year. They officially won the East, the SEC East. Sorry, Florida. But they've officially locked up the East. LSU hasn't officially locked up the West yet. We're going to assume that they do so. And Alabama, they decide, okay, so they are up 35-7 with 2 minutes to go in the half. And they still have Tua out there. Why do you have Tua out there against a bad Mississippi State team? They lost to Tennessee. This Mississippi State team is not good. Why do you still have Tua in the game? There's no incentive to having him in. Saban's like, oh, we wanted to get him practice of the 2-minute drill. I think Tua has enough practice of the 2-minute drill. Like, Mac Jones had his helmet on, and like, he's ready to go. He's like, give me some garbage time touches. But no, you don't put Mac Jones out there. You continue with Tua. Tua gets rocked by 2 MSU defenders. And that's all she wrote. He has I think it's a hip dislocation. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. Probably ends his career at Alabama. It really is a shame. He's a great guy. Love Tua. I think he's a great player. But Alabama, your season's done. You're not making it to the playoff. I think the best scenario for them is they win a New Year's Six Bowl. Possibly the Sugar Bowl would be most likely against maybe Oklahoma. But yeah, lost to Mississippi State. Oregon looked impressive in their win against Arizona. It is Arizona. They won 34-6. My man Justin Herbert has been balling out. CJ Verdell is a very, very good compliment to him as a running back. And their defense, I wouldn't put them in the elite defense category. Your elite defenses are probably Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. Your good solid defenses, I'd put Oregon. as much as they struggle at times, I'd put LSU in the good defensive category. They're not a great defense, but I think they're good. But I think Oregon, their defense is serviceable. I think it can pass. Oh, here's a team that their defense belongs in the elite category. The Utah Utes dismantled UCLA 49-3. And this UCLA team had been playing better. They kind of Chip Kelly starting into a bit of a rhythm. They travel their happy ass down to Utah and get smoked. Utah looked like a very good playoff contender. Their defense balls out every week, and they can score on defense. Yeah, pick sixes, fumble returns. They forced turnovers, that Utes defense. They looked very good. Quarterback Taylor Huntley, 14 for 18 passing with 335 yards, 2 touchdowns. Michigan State is up 40-18 on Charleston Southern at halftime. We will take that. But yeah, now your upset of the day or of the week. Minnesota, they row their boat down into Kinnick Stadium, and they lose to Iowa. Now, they did not get blown out by Iowa. They were getting blown out by Iowa. They were down 20-0 at one point. They managed 2 field goals before half, and they really kind of controlled the tempo after that, but a late Iowa field goal, and they just didn't have enough time. I think, everyone's saying, I saw a meme that said, Pentagon, not a thing, by the way, Pentagon, hexagon, octagon, playoff hopes are gone, and it showed a Minnesota logo. Their playoff hopes are far from over, but they did take a massive hit, because now, with a win, Minnesota would have been, I think, guaranteed to make it to the Big Ten Championship. Now that is not a guarantee because, okay, they're going to whoop Northwestern next week. I went to a Northwestern game, Northwestern versus Michigan State. Northwestern is terrible this year. They're awful. I expect that if we just assume Minnesota rolls through that game. They then would play Wisconsin last week of the year at home. They have that going for them. They looked very good at home against Penn State. And I think Penn State's a way better team than Wisconsin. If Wisconsin wins that game, Minnesota will no longer go to the Big Ten Championship. It's Wisconsin that's traveling to Indianapolis. So now the pressure's on PJ Fleck. And I do have to address one thing. There was I think it was when the game was 20-13. Minnesota was down by 7. And they had a 4th and 6, and their kicker sucks. Minnesota's kicker is awful. They decide, we're going to go for it on 4th and 6. They catch Minnesota's best receiver, Tyler Johnson, over the middle. He's a great receiver. This dude is a baller. Drops the ball. And he's wide open for the first down. Drops the ball. After he drops the ball, Iowa defender comes up. Boom. Trucks him. Dude's laying on the ground motionless after the play. This is after the play. Flag comes out. You're like, ooh, Minnesota has been gifted a free first down. PJ Fleck sees his player lying motionless on the ground. What does PJ Fleck do? He runs to go help his player. The ref immediately escorts him off the field, and PJ Fleck is like upset that he's like, I'm trying to help my downed player that is laying there motionless. And they said, so the refs are congregating for like at least 3 minutes. They're like, okay. They're like, the pass was incomplete. They're like, after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct to number 20, Iowa. They're like, additionally, unsportsmanlike conduct, Minnesota's coach. Those penalties offset, first down Iowa. And PJ Fleck's like flipping shit. And after the game, they interviewed PJ Fleck. He goes, they said I ran on the field too fast. He goes, I didn't know there was a red light and green light when it comes to when I can go on the field or not. There's an article right here. Minnesota's coach PJ Fleck said officials said he ran onto the field too fast on Tyler Johnson's 4th down drop. Fleck said Johnson wasn't moving, and he's like, we as coaches get criticized when we don't help injured players enough. And like Tyler Johnson, he's clearly just like, whoa, what happened? I just got rocked. He gets up. He ended up being fine, but I think that maybe could have cost Minnesota. It didn't cost Minnesota the game, because let's say they get that, okay, a field goal still would have done them nothing in the end. That's not the reason Minnesota lost, but I think it's just worthy to note that they played well enough to win that game. And Kinnick Stadium is a tough place to play. Like, I saw an article, I saw a list of, like, Iowa's beaten, like, a top 10 team almost every year they've been at Kinnick Stadium. Like, it's crazy. Minnesota, not out of the discussion yet. They are a great team, Minnesota. That team plays very well. And if they beat Wisconsin, they're going to the Big Ten Championship against Ohio State. And I'm not saying that they will, but keyword if they beat Ohio State, then they're definitely in the playoff. I mean, that's not a terrible loss. Like, they would have got, like, blown out by Northwestern, then I would say that's a pretty terrible loss. They lost by 4 to a really good Iowa team. Penn State survives at home against a pretty good Indiana team. Indiana's been improved this year. Oh, okay, now the game that everyone has been talking about, the playoff, in my eyes, playoff elimination game between Baylor and Oklahoma. The Baylor Bears they came out with a purpose. That was a team on a mission to start that game. First drive, I think Oklahoma got a field goal. And then Baylor, right down the field, touchdown. Forces a 3-and-out, right down the field, touchdown. Forces a 3-and-out, right down the field, touchdown. They get an interception. They run it all the way down to the 10. They get another touchdown. This team's up 28-3 in a blink. I was like, these Baylor Bears are for real, man. They belong in the playoff conversation or something. They're completely dismantling Oklahoma. Oklahoma then goes down and gets a touchdown, and Baylor was able to muster a field goal, I think, before half. Your halftime score is 31-10. That's your halftime score. So they go into the locker room, and I don't know what Lincoln Riley said. I don't know what got into this Oklahoma defense. A historically bad Oklahoma defense. Like, they did not play well in the second half of that game. They did not play well in the first half of that game. But Oklahoma's defense, they collect themselves. Lincoln Riley with, I don't know what he said at halftime. And Oklahoma, they come right down the field. They score a touchdown. Okay. They force a 3 down on Baylor, and they drive right down the field again. If you're a Baylor fan, you're like, what is happening? Jalen Hurts fumbles at the goal line. Covered in the end zone for Baylor. And I don't know what it was. Baylor, had a fumble to start the half or whatever. Baylor, I think, in the third quarter, I think they ran 4 offensive plays. Oklahoma had the ball all the time. And if you look back to the Falcons' 28-3 blown loss, their defense was on the field the entire time. They're just gassed. That's what happened to Baylor. And Jalen Hurts is just slowly picking them apart. He scores again. Baylor can't get anything going on offense. Oklahoma goes down, they score again. Baylor still can't get anything going on offense. Against a bad Oklahoma defense, you're like, oh my God, what is happening? Oklahoma drives down. They kick a field goal. And now you can see Baylor's offense with a minute to go, down by 3, playoff hopes on the line. You start to see them matriculate down the field, getting first down, short passes. They're getting out of bounds. They're right on the edge of field goal range. Charlie Brewer makes a horrible pass into double coverage. Clanks right off the OU defender's hands. He can't come up with it. He's visibly upset with himself. That was the game. He completely stone hands right up. So you're like, okay. Now, oh my God, dude, this guy on Big Ten Network is scary looking. Oh my God. Now I can't even look. This dude is scaring me. Oh my God, he's like a ghost. Anyway, but They go down, and so Charlie Brewer makes almost the exact same. He's throwing an out route. He throws it way behind his receiver. You're not going to get away with the same mistake twice. Oklahoma picks it off, and they still, I think, remain. They have some sort of hope, but what their defense showed in the first half was similar to the first half against Alabama in the playoff. They were down 28-0 against Alabama at the end of the first half in last year's Orange Bowl. I mean, they were able to come back sort of against Alabama, make it a competitive game, but Baylor is no Alabama. That's why they were able to come back and win that game. Just terrible starts Oklahoma's getting off to. If you look at the Kansas State game, got off to a bad start in that one. I mean, Oklahoma's going to have to get off to consistently better starts. Even if they win the Big 12 with one loss, they're going to need some other stuff to happen. It's most likely going to be Baylor and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship again. I don't see Baylor getting in if they win the Big 12. If Baylor wins the Big 12, I don't see them getting in because your one quality win if you're Baylor is going to be against a one-loss Oklahoma. Let's say they beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. Well, they beat you, so it's like I don't know. I don't think they're going to look at Baylor that well. Oklahoma maybe could get it because they would have a win against a decent Texas team, but how good really is Texas? Not that good. Oklahoma, I think, would have a better case beating Baylor twice. Baylor's a good team. Like, they are a good team, and they're probably going to need some help from maybe the Pac-12. I think Oklahoma fans are going to be huge Arizona State fans this week. We're going to talk about that later. Moving on to the other games, Florida dismantled Missouri. I've said dismantled 10 damn times. Oh my God. They beat Missouri 23-6. They beat Wisconsin beat Nebraska 37-21, keeping their hopes alive for the Big Ten championship. If you're a Minnesota fan, you're rooting for Purdue this week. That's who Wisconsin takes on. Notre Dame ran Navy off the field. Oh my God, Navy did not show up prepared for that game. 52-20 in favor of the Fighting Irish. That was a blowout. Cincinnati did not get off to a good start against South Florida. Down 10-0 at half. Able to pull off 20 second-half points, and they won that on a game-winning field goal. So Cincinnati survives. Their New Year's Six bowl chances are still alive. And Memphis, after sort of a shaky start as well, they got past Houston. And Cincinnati and Memphis are probably they're going to play on rivalry week. And the winner of that game is most likely going to a New Year's Six bowl. Texas lost on a second-half field goal to Iowa State. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't quite enough. Iowa State hit the go-ahead field goal. Boise State got rid of New Mexico pretty easily, 42-9. Same thing with Oklahoma State beating Kansas, 31-13. West Virginia beat Kansas State, 24-20. App State was struggling in the first half against Georgia State. They did collect themselves to win 56-27. Army beats what's VMI? I don't even know what VMI is. Beat it 47-6. Florida State beat Alabama State. TCU beat Texas Tech by 2. Northwestern beat UMass, the battle of two one-win teams, 45-6. Temple beat Tulane. UAB beat UTEP. BYU beat Idaho State. Troy put up 63 on Texas State. Arkansas State beat Coastal Carolina by 1. Arkansas State is now bowl eligible. Same thing with BYU. They are now bowl eligible. Florida State, with their win against Alabama State, they are now bowl eligible. Like to celebrate bowl eligibility. And Georgia Southern beat UL Monroe to become bowl eligible there. Central Michigan beat Ball State by 1. That was a crazy game. Virginia Tech beat Georgia Tech. Kentucky beat Vanderbilt. Kentucky needs one more win to be bowl eligible. Syracuse beat Duke 49-6. God, the ACC is a mess. Hawaii beat UNLV. New Mexico State beat Incarnate Word for their first win of the season. Congrats. Utah State beat Wyoming, and they are now bowl eligible with that win. Washington State beat Stanford. Rice beat Middle Tennessee State, and Rice gets their first win of the year. Congrats, guys. Louisiana beat South Alabama. Southern Miss beat Utah. Air Force beat Colorado State. Texas A&M beat South Carolina. Oregon State won against Arizona State. Oregon State is now, I think they're bowl eligible. They're one win away from being bowl eligible. And USC beat Cal. So now that's all the games from last week. Now we have some playoff rankings to talk about. So we're going to go over to rankings, and we'll take a look at last week's rankings. And I'm going to... Now, what I'm going to tell you first is I'm going to tell you how I would make the rankings. If I was, say, an AP poll voter, I'm a Michigan State representative, and I'm voting for the AP poll. This is how I would make the AP poll. You can take it or leave it, okay? I'm going LSU number 1. It's a toss-up for me, Ohio State, Clemson. I feel like Clemson is not getting enough credit. I'll go Ohio State at 2, Clemson at 3. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Each team is going to play each other no matter where they're ranked. I'm putting Georgia at 4. I'm putting Oregon at 5. They've looked better to me than Alabama this season. Oregon's playing some really good football. This team is firing on all cylinders. I'll put Alabama at 6. I'll put Utah 7. Actually, no. Yeah, I'll put Utah 7. We're going to go Minnesota. No. Oklahoma 8. I think that was an impressive win against Baylor. Minnesota 9. Penn State 10. That's my top 10. Minnesota should be ahead of Penn State because they beat Penn State. The head-to-head is not getting enough credit in this. I don't know why. And like the eye test is so BS. Eye test is so much BS. I don't think the eye test should matter at all. And like it shouldn't matter how much you've beaten teams by. It should matter who you've beaten. But I do think that Minnesota should be ahead of Penn State. Sadly, I think Minnesota's going to drop to like 18 or so. They're going to drop a lot. I think they're going to drop way too much than they should. That's just a shame. But that's just what's going to happen. Oklahoma, I think, look pretty good. They're going to rise up there. And I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, possible playoff scenarios, okay? The worst possible thing if you were a Pac-12 supporter or a Big 12 supporter. The worst thing for you guys is if Georgia wins the SEC championship game. If they win the SEC championship game, that means that Georgia is going to be Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia. The question is, where would they put a one-loss LSU as compared to a one-loss Oregon, one-loss Oklahoma, or a one-loss Baylor, or a one-loss Utah? Where would they compare them to that? And I think they'd take LSU because the SEC bias is real from the committee. Do not at me. But I think that's just what's going to happen. Do I see Georgia winning the SEC? No. Uncle Lou has been just on his high horse about how, people are saying LSU is going to just roll into Atlanta and just destroy Georgia. And I don't think they'll destroy Georgia. I think this will be a close competitive game. I just don't see Georgia's offense keeping up against LSU's offense. I mean, Georgia has a good defense, and they can try to limit that. But, I mean, LSU's offense, they're going to make plays. And I don't think Georgia's offense has a lot of explosive firepower. And as a Bears fan, I know the defense cannot do everything. I just think LSU's offense is too explosive. So, now your question is, so we'll say LSU is the first spot claimed. Clemson has the second spot claimed. Okay, then you're going to go to the winner of Ohio State, Minnesota. If Ohio State does play Minnesota, winner of that, and we're not counting out Penn State. The upcoming game between Penn State and Ohio State is going to decide who goes to the Big Ten championship, and Penn State has a real good case to beat Ohio State. I think Penn State has a real good chance that not a lot of people are giving them. And if Ohio State loses this game, they're not going to be looking pretty good when it comes to making the playoff. Because if we look, hold on, let me just pull up the Big Ten standings. Big Ten, Big Ten standings, guys. Big Ten standings. Okay, you are basically in a 4-team playoff when it comes to the Big Ten standings. Oh, this is basketball. Dang it. Big Ten standings. Football. There we go. Enter football. Okay. You're basically in a 4-team race because the winner of... Now, Wisconsin is eliminated. They're not going to make the playoff. There's no chance they can make the playoff. But they could play spoiler in this scenario. And I shouldn't say the complete... What if Wisconsin beats... Let's say, what if they beat... Hold on. Let's just say that they beat Minnesota, then they beat Ohio State. Will Wisconsin get the playoff? Sadly, I say no, because the committee would probably look like, well, you did beat Ohio State, but Ohio State blew you out 35-6, or whatever it was. They got dismantled by Ohio State. So, sadly, don't think Wisconsin would make the playoff. Although they'd have a good case. I don't think they get in, though. I think the only way a 2-loss team's ever going to make it into the playoff is if you get a 2-loss SEC champion. Because the SEC can never be left out of the playoff. That the committee just won't allow that. But you're looking at this upcoming game between Ohio State and Penn State. I think it's a playoff elimination game. I think the winner of this game is going to be in the driver's seat when it comes to making it to the playoff out of the Big Ten. And the loser is, well, if Penn State loses, they're done. If Ohio State loses, I could see Ohio State sitting in the same boat as Alabama. Whereas, yeah, they've looked good, yeah, they've dismantled opponents, but who, like, have they really beaten anyone good? Let's say Ohio State loses to Penn State. Well, then you'd be looking at who have they beaten? Scores. They beat Rutgers, they beat Maryland, they beat Wisconsin. Okay, I guess you could call that maybe a good win. They beat Northwestern, they beat Michigan State, they beat Nebraska, they beat Miami of Ohio, they beat Indiana, they beat Cincinnati, which the Cincinnati win is actually looking like a pretty good win. Same with the Indiana win. But you're really not going to have a powerhouse schedule. And then you'd have a chance to beat Michigan, which they're going to beat Michigan since Michigan cannot beat Ohio State if their lives depended on it. Sorry, Michigan. But I think that this is a playoff elimination game. I think if Ohio State loses this game, they're going to be sitting in the same boat as Alabama, as Minnesota rows their boat to the Big Ten championship game. I think that this game means more. If Penn State wins this game, Penn State is more. Who does Penn State play to end the season? Because them and Ohio State would be sitting at the same record, but then they would Penn State and Ohio State would be sitting at the same record. Penn State would hold the tiebreaker in the head-to-head. Penn State ends the season against Rutgers. You think they're going to lose to Rutgers? No way. I think there's a good chance Penn State wins this game. Do I think they'll win this game? I'm going to wait to say who I think will win until the Big Ten picks. But I'm not going to say who I think is going to win, but I'll say that to the end. But if Penn State wins this game, they're going to probably jump up to 5, maybe, I guess. And then you'll say if Minnesota beats Wisconsin in 2 weeks, you're going to have Minnesota, Penn State, 2 one-loss Big Ten teams. And if you have a one-loss Big Ten champion, you can't keep that team out. You have to put that team in at that point. So I think that whoever wins the Big Ten will one loss, whether that be Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, if Ohio State loses one game, they're not going to win the Big Ten. That's just how it is if they lose to Penn State. Now, who does Ohio... Oh, they play Michigan down this season. Ohio State, if they beat Penn State, they can afford to lose to Michigan. But this is really the game that just decides everything. If they beat Penn State, then they can lose to Michigan. They're not going to lose to Michigan. Like, what do you think? They're just going to willingly give their rival a free win? Yeah, no, that's not what's going to happen. But I think this is the last important game before the Big Ten championship. This is basically to decide who gets in the Big Ten championship. This is a playoff game. This is a playoff game, whether you like it or not. This game is going to decide who gets in the Big Ten championship. And I think if you are a Minnesota fan, you better be the biggest Penn State fans this week. Because then again, if they win, that's going to make your win look better. And I think if you're a Minnesota fan, you're thinking Minnesota has a better chance to beat Penn State than they do Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. But then again, if you're a Minnesota fan, your main job is to beat Wisconsin. And I don't think, is Northwestern a trap game? No, I don't think Northwestern is going to be a trap game. So with all that being said, let's now get on to the... Okay, wait, hold on. I not going to the picks yet. More discussion. We love discussion. So, I think if you are a Big 12 fan, more specifically an Oklahoma fan, you better be the biggest fans of Arizona State. Why Arizona State, you ask? Well, Oregon's upcoming game is at Arizona State. Now, Arizona State is by no means an elite team, but they are a good team. They're a very good team. They have an underrated defense, I think. Their offense can fire if they need to. Their offense can produce if need be. I think this might be a trap game for Oregon. And if you're a Big 12 fan, I think if you're an Oregon fan or if you're a Utah fan, you need that other team. So if you're an Oregon fan, you need Utah to finish the season 12-1. If you're a Utah fan, you need Oregon to finish the season 12-1. Because that way, when y'all play each other, whoever wins that game is going to have a quality win, whereas Oklahoma really will not. But I do think that if you're an Oklahoma fan, you need to be rooting for Arizona State this week. I don't know who Utah plays this week. We can check that out. I don't think Utah plays anyone good. Oregon ends the season against Arizona State and Oregon State. They play Oregon State at home, so I think they'll beat Oregon State. Utah, they play at Arizona. Arizona is bad this year, so I think they'll win. Then they play Colorado at home. Colorado's also not very good. I think that they'll win that game. So, if you are a Oklahoma fan, you are rooting for those teams. I think that a one-loss Pac-12 champion would get in over a one-loss Big 12 champion. Baylor's done. I don't think Baylor has any chance. The only way Baylor gets in is if either Oregon or Utah. If you're a Baylor fan, you would essentially need Oregon to lose to Arizona State, and then you need Oregon to beat Utah. So that way the Pac-12 is a two-loss champion. Even then, though, I think people would take Alabama over Baylor. No, maybe not. But then Baylor would have to beat Oklahoma, which I don't see it happening for Baylor. Sorry, Bears fans. But I think that's enough discussion. Let's get on to the Week 13 picks. Lucky number 13. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we're going to do every FBS Division I game. We're going to talk about teams that maybe they need one or two more wins to become bowl eligible. We like to celebrate bowl eligibility around here. Yes, we do. But we'll talk about maybe some teams. Maybe it's a rivalry game. Maybe I don't know. Tons of stuff. Now I know there's been a lot of discussion about Thursday night football. Now it's not enough rest for the players. It's just a pool to make money. The players aren't rested enough. How about Tuesday? College football games on Tuesdays. You play on Saturday, you have Monday, you have Sunday and Monday to prepare for your Tuesday game. I mean, Northern Illinois, who's playing on this Tuesday, they played on Tuesday last week. So I don't know. It's always the MAC too. Always the MAC. Like the MAC's also playing. Yeah, there's two MAC games on Tuesday. Why? Why do you want to play on Tuesday? I have no idea. But Eastern Michigan takes on Northern Illinois at Northern Illinois. Eastern Michigan needs one more win to become bowl eligible. Northern Illinois got a big win against Toledo last week. They need 2 wins to become bowl eligible. Bowl eligibility. God, words, Quincy, words. I think Northern Illinois gets the win. Bowling Green and Ohio, I'm going to take Bowling Green. The Akron Zips are 0-10. These are Wednesday games. The Akron Zips are 0-10. Make it 0-11. I'll take the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. The Buffalo Bulls and Toledo, the aforementioned Toledo. Buffalo needs one more win to become bowl eligible. I think they get that win against Toledo at home. This game is on Thursday, NC State, Georgia Tech. Coin flip for me. God, Georgia Tech is awful. Give me NC State. Jeff Collins, not a very good debut season. Colorado State and Wyoming. I'll take Wyoming at home. They look like a pretty solid team. Michigan State needs 2 more wins. These are all Saturday games now. Michigan State needs 2 more wins to become bowl eligible. And I think they get one of those wins on the road against Rutgers. I'm sorry, 0-7 in the Big Ten. Not a very good team. Louisville against Syracuse at Louisville. We'll take Louisville. Tennessee and Missouri both need to win one of their last 2 to become bowl eligible. Tennessee playing at Missouri. I'm going to take Tennessee. I think Tennessee gets that win. I like their chances at Mizzou. Mizzou did not look very good last week against Florida, so give me Tennessee to get that win to become bowl eligible. All right, now the aforementioned game between Penn State and Ohio State. And quickly, why is this a noon game? Why is it a noon game? Why? You can get so many viewers and so much publicity and such a better atmosphere at the game. it was a night game. No, it's a noon game. The spread and the FPI Power Index not kind to Penn State. Penn State comes into the game with a 15% chance to win. That is completely disrespectful in my eyes. People are saying Ohio State's just going to run through them like they did Wisconsin. I don't see that happening. I see Penn State holding this game a lot closer than y'all are going to think. God, if only this was a whiteout game. I don't know, it's not. You can wish and wish upon wish. But I think that Penn State holds this game close. I think this is a back-and-forth game, neck and neck, through halftime, through the third quarter. I just see Ohio State pulling away in the third quarter. I don't see Penn State's defense being able to make that many stops. I think Ohio State gets the win 35-24. That's how I see the final score shaking up. I just don't see Penn State's defense being able to hold for that long. I just think at some point in the fourth quarter they're going to bust. But give Penn State their credit. They're a good team, and I feel like they are going to have a good chance to win this game, better than what a lot of people are saying. Let me wait for this to load. Thank you. Ooh, Alabama taking on their best opponent all year. Western Carolina. Quality out-of-conference opponents, Bama. Quality out-of-conference opponents. Bama by 80. Minnesota takes on Northwestern. We mentioned this earlier. I think Northwestern's going to take care of business there. They lose. That's just a shame. Auburn also taking on a very good opponent. Not Stanford. Samford. That's who Auburn's taking on at home. Auburn by 80. Iowa plays Illinois at home. Illinois has been sort of an underrated team this year. They're 6-4. They've beaten some good opponents like Wisconsin, Michigan State. I think Iowa wins at Kinnick Stadium, however. West Virginia and Oklahoma State, I'll take the Cowboys. BYU faces the 1-10 UMass. Give me BYU. Tulane and UCF, I'll take UCF on the road. Ball State and Kent State, I'll take Kent State. UConn and East Carolina, both teams that are 0-6 in the American Conference, I'll take East Carolina. Liberty takes on Virginia. Give me Virginia. Iowa State and Kansas, give me Iowa State. South Alabama takes on Georgia State, give me Georgia State. Air Force and New Mexico, man, Air Force is looking pretty good. I feel like they could win a pretty big bowl game. I'll take Air Force there. Boston College and Notre Dame, my friend is actually going to be at that game. I want to take Boston College just to make him, because he's a Notre Dame fan. I want to take Boston College to make him mad. But my brain is telling me to go with Notre Dame. They're favored by 20, so I'll take Notre Dame. Appalachian State takes on Texas State. We'll take App State there. Love App State. Georgia Southern and Arkansas State. I'll take Georgia Southern. Georgia and Texas A&M. This is the first time Georgia has played Texas A&M since the conference expanded. We'll take the Dogs. Texas and Baylor. I was going to take Texas in this game no matter if Baylor beat Oklahoma or lost to Oklahoma. I think that Baylor's going to see themselves. They're going to overestimate Texas. I like Texas in that game. Indiana, Michigan. We'll take Michigan. Navy and SMU. Ooh, this is a good one. American Conference. Navy looked awful last week. Give me SMU. North Carolina, Mercer. I think North Carolina gets that win, keep their bowl hopes alive. This is a pretty big game in the ACC. Pitt and Virginia Tech are probably the two leading candidates when it comes to who's going to play Clemson in the ACC championship. And then again, there is a chance Clemson loses. That's not beyond the realm of possibilities. I think Virginia Tech wins this game, and they're going to be the team that takes on Clemson. I think Virginia Tech would have the best chance to beat Clemson, if you're asking me. UCLA, USC, big rivalry game. I'll take USC. Marshall and Charlotte. Charlotte needs one more win to become bowl eligible. Imagine if they would have scheduled a cupcake out of conference team besides Clemson. I think Charlotte gets the win and they become bowl eligible against Marshall. UAB, Louisiana Tech. Ooh, big one in Conference USA. I'll take Louisiana Tech. They've been looking pretty good this year. North Texas and Rice. We'll take North Texas. Western Kentucky and Southern Miss. We'll take Western Kentucky. Nebraska, Maryland. Ooh, two bad teams in the Big Ten, we'll take Nebraska. East Tennessee State, Vanderbilt. Well, I think we'll take Vanderbilt. UT Martin and Kentucky. I think we'll take Kentucky. Purdue and Wisconsin. I think this could be a trap game for Wisconsin. They look too far ahead to Minnesota. They get caught in a trap game against Purdue. I think Wisconsin's going to win, but I think Purdue holds it close. And plus, Purdue needs to win their last 2 games against IU and Wisconsin to make a bowl game. I think they come out with an intensity and make this game interesting. I do think that Wisconsin will win. Memphis and South Florida. Give me Memphis. They've been looking very good. Ooh, a exhilarating match of the 1-9 UTEP Miners and the 1-9 New Mexico State Aggies. Give me UTEP. California, Stanford. Cal needs 1 more win to become bowl eligible. Stanford needs to win their last 2 to become bowl eligible. Give me Cal. I like them in that game. San Jose State, UNLV. We'll take San Jose State. Old Dominion, Middle Tennessee. 2 bad teams. We'll take Middle Tennessee. Coastal Carolina, UL Monroe. We'll take Coastal. Troy and Louisiana. We'll take Louisiana. Florida Atlantic and Utse will take FAU. Lane Kiffin working and stuff down there. Arkansas and Louisiana State. Shout out to all you people that knew Louisiana State was LSU. A lot of people don't know that. I feel like that should be common knowledge, but like I told one of my friends, I was like, yeah, Louisiana State plays this week. He's like, who's Louisiana State? I don't know. LSU, Arkansas. That should be self-explanatory. Arkansas is the worst team in the SEC, and there's no question about it. Temple and Cincinnati, we'll take Cincinnati. Kansas State, Texas Tech, we'll take... I'm not going to take Texas Tech in this one. Miami, Florida International. Ooh, this is a big rivalry game, because Florida International and Miami are like 9 miles apart. I don't know if y'all... KTO made a video this week about that big fight where the dude whipped his helmet across the dude's head like Myles Garrett. This is a rivalry game. You guys didn't know. FIU... Miami, big rivalry game. You know what? I'm taking FIU at home. Give me FIU. I have a good feeling about them. Give me FIU. Go Panthers. Then we have Oregon, Arizona State. I said this could be a trap game for Oregon at Arizona State. I like Arizona State's chances. I'm gonna take Oregon, but I think this will be a dogfight. Houston, Tulsa. We'll 2, 3, and 7 teams. Houston. Albany Christian and Mississippi State. We'll take Mississippi State. Duke and Wake. Oh my goodness, bro. Gabe Brown with the dunk against Charleston Southern. Oh my. That dude from Charleston Southern just had his soul. His soul has been ripped out of his body. Oh my. That would... Look up the Michigan State Charleston Southern highlights and find that dunk. Oh my goodness, that was a throwdown. I'll take Wake over Duke. Oklahoma TCU, we'll take Oklahoma. Oregon State, Washington State. Okay, both of these teams are 5-5. Whoever wins this game is bowl eligible. Give me Oregon State. I like what Oregon State's got cooking down there. They've improved this year. They're 4-3 in the Pac-12. Utah, Arizona, we'll take Utah. Colorado, Washington, we'll take Washington. Boise State, Utah State. Utah State's got a big win against Wyoming. I'm going with an upset. We're taking Utah State to beat Hank Bachmeier and Boise State. Nevada, Fresno State, we'll take Nevada. And then the late game at 10 p.m. Central Time, 11 for you on the East Coast. Hawaii and San Diego State. I'll take the Rainbow Warriors at home. I feel like you gotta think Hawaii has to have like the biggest home field advantage. Like, teams gotta fly to the middle of the damn ocean. Hawaii has to have like the biggest home field advantage. Like, remember when Hawaii made it to a New Year's Six bowl? They played like Georgia or whatever, got mollywopped because the game was in like Atlanta. If that game's in Hawaii, like if Georgia plays Hawaii in like the Aloha Bowl, Hawaii's winning it. Like, I'm willing to... What's Hawaii's record at home? Just to end this video, I'm curious. What's Hawaii's record at home? Okay, let's see. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They beat Arizona at home. They beat Oregon State at home. Lost to Washington on the road. They beat that's Central Arkansas. They beat Central Arkansas at home. They lost to Air Force at home. Okay. Well, Air Force is a good team. They lost to Fresno State at home. Okay. But, like, their road games, like, what are they? 2-0. Like, they're bad on the road, like, because they got to travel so far. I don't know. Just a little ending segment about Hawaii, because I was just curious. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Another video that's probably too long, but hey, that's just what it's going to be. I got a lot of positive feedback from the long videos. Seems like you guys like them, so. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Let me know who your 4 playoff teams are down below. See you next time.